They're trying to criminalize people that are saying free Palestine or are speaking about Gaza. And this only underscores how little you value Palestinian life, that it takes 2 Israeli citizens being killed for you to have this reaction when you're basically punishing us and calling for us to be canceled and banned and all of these things for having a human response to tens of thousands of innocent women and children being slaughtered in a territory next to Israel. Obviously, last night, terrible tragedy happens. You get 2 Israeli diplomats who are gunned down in D.C. This individual then screams free Palestine. And of course, now the internet is accusing everybody who has ever said the right thing about what is happening in Gaza of having blood on our hands because we have been humane towards that.
And conflating it with anti-Semitism, too. It's just like, maybe he was anti-Semitic. Maybe he killed them just because they were Jewish. But all the evidence that I'm seeing is that it was political. And conflating the fact that they were Jewish with the fact that he was saying free Palestine and you're Israeli having to do with the Israeli government, those are not the same thing.
It's crazy. And it's also extremely desperate to me. I think that there's no other way to look at everything that's transpired than to acknowledge the Zionists have lost the moral argument. They've lost the moral high ground if they ever had it. Too many Americans are awakened to this, especially the youth are awakened to these sorts of tactics. And they just did too much too fast, trying to cancel too many people, trying to call everybody literally Hitler. Eventually people go, okay, everyone can't be Adolf Hitler that disagrees with you. And people have survived these cancellations. Tucker Carlson, myself, now they're using the strategy of saying we're all funded by Qatar, and it just looks messy and inauthentic, and their platforms are dying. They're sending out bots to try to pretend that they're popular. They've gone after Joe Rogan, right? Yeah. They have gone after Dave Smith. Big time, right? Yeah. They are going after now Theo Von. They've gone after Tim Dillon. And I can empathize with him because I felt that pressure last year where I kind of went, I have a massive platform. There are people who can't say anything. I am watching before they somehow cleaned up X every day. I was just watching these kids being blown up. I was watching people starving. And I remember distinctly what it was that made me feel like I had to say something. And it was the sound of a mother screaming after her daughter was killed. And I remember her holding the lifeless body and the rubble. And I had to say something. And it cost me, actually, in retrospect, literally nothing.
Yeah, but at the time,
it felt like it cost me everything. Right. And I realized it cost me nothing because when you do the right thing, when you open yourself up to God and recognize that all of these things that you think matter are nothing. Like there is an eternal source that is going to take care of you when you say the right thing. That is what I felt. And I wanted to cry when, especially he's so genuine. He's like, I'm a guy who has a platform and I can't look at these images anymore. We all just watched Theo Von's clip and felt that he was struggling with this internally. And what we get in response is, by the way, he's mentally ill. Okay, add it to the pile. Candace is a cluster B psychopath?
Yes.
And Theo Von's mentally ill, and Joe Rogan needs an intervention per Sam Harris. But these guys have got it all figured out. It's just ad hominem attacks.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so dishonest in the way that they try to interpret it. And do you think the response to that now, knowing what we know about expressing that and how they try to ruin your life? We could talk about even Miss Rachel, who they demanded I'm explicitly speaking about these pro-Zionist groups, demanded that the DOJ investigate her for taking money from Qatar. The new opinion is that if you have a problem seeing a child blown up, if you have a problem with children starving because Israel is not allowing aid to get into that territory, if you have a problem
77 days without
if you have a problem with the images of a woman wailing as she's holding her child, if you have a problem with tens of thousands of murdered innocents, and by the way, the last time that we had the number check, because they don't tell you anymore, it's got to be, we've got to be close to 6 figures now, in my opinion, okay? Because that's how long ago it was at, like 50,000. But if you have a problem with any of that, the amount of death, the destruction that's happening, you're being funded by Qatar. Yeah. They're even handing out names. They're calling him Tucker Carlson. And so I want to be, if this is what we do, we all get Qatar names for having basic, human response to tragedy. I want to be Candace.
Candace Owens.
Mm-hmm. I want to be Candace, and you are Ian Qatar.
I'll be Ian Qatar, for sure. I already am, really, so.
Right. But this is their argument. You're funded by Qatar. Dave Smith, same thing. You're funded by Qatar. No evidence, just lies. And it's like, if you want people to come over to your side, you have to stop being a liar.
It's always, you are wrong. You are mentally ill. It's never, what is Israelis' actions? What is Israel doing that might cause someone to criticize them? And it's the same thing that I'm talking about with that shooter. Again, it's like, horrible tragedy. But is he anti-Semitic? Or if Israel wasn't bombing children every single day, and that whole conflict wasn't happening this way right now, do you think he still would have done that because he hates Jews? Or is it because of what we're seeing on the TV that he got radicalized?
People are having a reaction. Never justifies violence. What happened is a tragedy. You should never think that your solution to that should be, well, I'm going to go take other innocent life because I'm upset about what's happening. That's just wrong. But to pretend that people that are having a normal human response to what's happening, or try to now censor speech, and they're trying to criminalize people that are saying free Palestine or are speaking about Gaza, now you all have blood on your hands? No. Bibi Netanyahu has blood on your hands. And this only underscores how little you value Palestinian life, that it takes 2 Israeli citizens being killed for you to have this reaction when you're basically punishing us and calling for us to be canceled and banned and all of these things for having a human response to tens of thousands of innocent women and children being slaughtered in a territory next to Israel. When Wikipedia first got started, speaking about how they had employed this whole team to write, you know, and they also had the same thing for X. They have all these IDF soldiers that are writing responses and controlling body counts.
If you want to learn how propaganda works, how the Hasbara works, how the mind control works, all you need to do is study the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Yeah.
Because Israel has been waging a information war on the American people all along, and they still do today. And they're every day you can log in and watch their tactics. That's the only weapon they have when this is the reality of how many kids are being killed on this side versus the other side.